NetEase has formed strategic partnerships with Marvel and the Pokemon Company to help the pair launch new games in China. The Marvel deal will see NetEase help the comic book and movie to develop new video games, television series, and comic books based on internationally beloved Marvel stories. Marvel Entertainment President Dan Buckley specifically hopes the deal will help the company make a bigger impact in China and beyond, with NetEase having plenty of experience operating and growing big-name franchises like World of Warcraft and Minecraft in the tough-to-crack Chinese market. As a global leader in online games, NetEase is the perfect fit to help bring the Marvel Universe to more fans around the world, commented Buckley in a press release. We cannot wait to share more about the exciting new games and other content that will be developed with this partnership. As for the Pokemon deal, NetEase has linked up with the Pokemon Company to release a localized version of Pokemon Quest in China with the help of developer Game Freak. As reported by Reuters, the free-to-play mobile adventure game will become the first Pokemon to launch on smartphones in China, beating out the likes of Pokemon Go, which has yet to arrive in the country. While there is currently no word as to when Pokemon Quest will actually launch in China, NetEase has offered a vague timeline with regards to its Marvel partnership, and hopes to have 6 Marvel games out by the end of 2019. A competitive advantage is not just being fastest, cheapest, or best, as it only lasts until a competitor figures out how to be faster, cheaper, or better. In this DD 2017 talk, producer and consultant Justin Fisher goes over the framework for establishing a competitive advantage, like the ones enjoyed by Dark Souls and IKEA, using both strategic theory and practical examples. Fisher discusses how developers can tailor their design choices to make target audiences more profitable and success harder to imitate. It was an insightful talk that's definitely still worth watching, so developers should not miss the opportunity to do so now that it's freely available on the official GD YouTube channel. In addition to this presentation, THEGDC Vault and its accompanying YouTube channel offers numerous other free videos, audio recordings, and slides from many of the recent game developers conference events. And the service offers even more members-only content for GD Vault subscribers. Those who purchased all-access passes to recent events, like GD, would already have full access to GD Vault, and interested parties can apply for the individual subscription via a GD Vault subscription page. Group subscriptions are also available. Game-related schools and development studios who sign up for GD Vault Studio subscriptions can receive access for their entire office, accompanied by contacting staff via THEGDC Vault Group subscription page. Finally, current subscribers with access issues can contact GD Vault technical support. Earlier this year, in the midst of reading over some statistics about how the IOLA anti-imaging in games affects players, I found myself wondering how they affect the people who make them. We regularly celebrate the artists and animators who pepper games with the lovely and the magnificent. I rarely hear much about the people who spend their days creating the gruesome, disgusting, and just plain gross aspects of contemporary games. I am not just thinking of horror games. Here, developing even a nasty sci-fi shooter like Halo requires that some folks in the team spend significant amounts of time poring over pretty gruesome reference material in order to create disquieting monsters and levels. To do their jobs well, some developers spend a surprising amount of time studying disgusting material for their day job. They are rarely celebrated, and it's even rarer that they talk openly about how their work affects them personally. While I do not have any meaningful stats to share on this topic, I do have some stories to share that help shed some light on what it can be like to be an artist on a matter of thing. To lay some detail on a big project, former Halo artist Vic Dalian has seen some of the more gruesome aspects of his day job spill over into his personal life. While working on Halo 3 as an environment artist, Dalian found himself tasked with helping to create a level in which players explore a Covenant ship infested by the parasitic flood. Two such levels would make it into the final game. I took 2 weeks to gather a bunch of different reference images, scientific stuff, biological stuff, a lot of just really gross stuff. Recalls Dalian. We wanted a lot of long stringy tunnels, and I debuted the idea of looking at colonoscopy videos for reference. So I was watching all these colonoscopy videos to get ideas on what I could do to mimic their style. That feeling of being inside something. The flood-infested Cortana level from Halo 3. Dalian did not stop there either. The former Halo dev says he started studying images of tumors and other lesions in order to get an idea of how to texture and sculpt in-game surfaces. Then took a deep dive into mycology reports to study the grossest mushrooms and slime modes he could find. I remember looking at different types of gross biological things and saying, okay, we can integrate this and that, but not that. And then later in the day, I would suddenly start thinking about these super gross images, just out of nowhere, says Dalian. My tolerance is pretty high, but I would still, all of a sudden, just be overcome with nausea. It was a rough couple of weeks. Like other artists I have spoken to, Dalian says he was surprised at how studying this sort of repugnant reference material led to a change in his mental state. Despite feeling like he has a higher than average tolerance for disgusting images, I was a bio major in college. The artist found these images seeping into his day-to-day life. They did come up when I was least expecting it. Something would just pop into my head, an image, or something, and for a while there I felt, I would not say traumatized, but haunted, like when you are a kid and you see something really disgusting or gory, or scary with, says Dalian. I started associating that level with feeling disgusting. Once it was built, it took months and months of polishing, and in those months, I could not wait to work on something else. The level was so disgusting, and what I thought was neat at first really came to bear down on me. Dalian's fellow developers were not unsympathetic either, though they eventually also learned to steer clear of his desk if they did not want to ruin their lunch. People would walk by my desk, and just like sugar or scream, says Dalian, recalling that it became a standing office joke that people would avoid looking at his monitor while passing or visiting his desk. I was working on that level for 8 months. So for 8 months, people had to step real careful around me. While Dalian moved on to work on other projects, his strategy for coping with the mental stress of working on that flood level wound up evolving into a permanent part of his personal life. I started looking at other scary images, but images that were not particularly gross, gory or gruesome, classic stuff like Frankenstein, or the old Romero Night of the Living Dead stuff, says Dalian. I try to look at those things and get back in touch with my childhood fears, because at least I can manage that. I figured if I could reintroduce some of the old stuff that used to scare me into my mind, maybe some of the new stuff would not affect me so strongly. And it worked sort of. Dalian's coping mechanism grew into a renewed fascination with classic horror, and he began posting a vintage horror image to Twitter every night before bed. People kept asking for more, and now the spooky image post is part of Dalian's evening ritual. I am telling you, man, it's now been 6 years of me, every night, posting a scary picture on my Twitter account at 10 o'clock, says Dalian.